It's July, and for the past 6 months, we have been turning our backyard into a homestead. And I think it's about time that I show you guys exactly what we've been able to accomplish in 6 months. Oh, and by the way, we had a baby in April, so it wasn't like we were out here working nonstop. We obviously had other things, other priorities going on, but this video is to encourage you to go ahead and get started because in 6 months' time, we've made a ton of progress. So come check it out. So you guys might be wondering why I chose to start this video inside, and is it super tidy in here? Nope. But this is our dining room, and it has been repurposed into kind of like just a prep space for everything I have going on. Over here, I have chickens in a brooder box. If you want to see how I built that, I made a short about it, so check it out. Got chicken feed, gardening gloves, basket of vegetables that I harvested but haven't used yet, seeds, starter trays, and in front of that, you can't see it in the shot. That's better. Okay, so here I have some brassicas. So cauliflower, broccoli, whole thing of Brussels sprouts, and a whole thing of cabbage that I started, and they're already germinating. I think I started these like 3 days ago, and they're already almost ready to go. And under here I have potatoes. Yeah, so this is my inside kind of prep area. My son takes a lot of naps in this area. He's taking a nap over there right now. I can roll his bassinet in here, and if he wakes up and cries, I can hear him if I'm in the backyard. And I can also just come up to the door and peek in and check on him and make sure he's still sleeping. But yeah, this is where I start everything and get it ready to go outside. So now it's time for us to go outside. Where we are right now, it's along the fence in one of our 3 berry bush sites. So we have one here, we have one on the other side of the yard, and then we have one that's like kind of in our patio. This doesn't look great over here. I understand that it looks a little bit sad, but don't worry, it's not all bad. So these big brown dead looking plants that you see back there are actually transplanted raspberries. And on the other side, we have some blackberries from my husband's parents' farm in Wisconsin. When our baby was about a month old, they came down to visit and meet him, and they are sweethearts and brought down some berry bushes because they knew that we were planting berries and vegetables, and we were kind of starting to turn our backyard into a little homestead. So they brought some of their like wild raspberry and blackberry bushes down. And it was a long trip. It's like a 14-hour drive, like it's no joke. And you know, it was really hot when they got down here. It was really dry when they got down here. So we transplanted them. Obviously, all of the growth that was on them when they were uprooted from Wisconsin died off, which is why everything is just like sad and withered and brown. But if you look in a couple spots, there's already some new growth cropping up, which means the root system in the plant itself is not dead. So we're just gonna have to be patient and wait. I haven't pruned these back yet because in the winter I have a bunch of pruning to do, so it's like, why stress them out even more? I'm just gonna let it ride, and then, you know, we'll prune everything back, and then we'll be back on schedule. These up here in the front, this is actually 3 blueberry plants. And if you're thinking, wow, those are really close, you're right. I totally messed up on this. I had the space to kind of spread them out, and I just didn't dig out far enough. I threw them in. I also completely forgot. It must have been really hot that day. I feel like maybe I was heat catting because I completely spaced and did not squish up the root ball. So like when you're transplanting berry bushes, and we got these from fastgrowingtrees.com. They don't sponsor me. They have no idea that I exist. We just get stuff from them, and it's a good site. When you get those things and you take them out of the containers, you're supposed to kind of manipulate the root ball a little bit, basically to just keep the plant from getting root bound. And root bound means like when you pull, you know, a plant out of a container and all the roots just spin around and around and the soil almost stays completely like in that container shape. That's root bounds. I have full faith and confidence that these things are going to make a comeback. I'm not going to dig in there and manipulate it again. I'm not going to disrupt them any more than I already have. They came with berries on them already, and they produced for, you know, a good month or two, so we got berries off of them. It was just when we transplanted them, they didn't die, they just stopped producing. So yeah, a lot of mistakes were made in this general area, but I think next year we're gonna have much better luck. And I'm not too concerned about these because the blueberries that are on the edge of the patio also stopped producing a few weeks ago, and I think it's because of the really hot dry spell that we had, and those blueberries are like very exposed and kind of out in the sun. So I think that's why everything stopped producing. I certainly didn't do anything to help the situation over here, but like I said, these are really young plants. These are old, mature, hardy plants, so I think next year like everything's going to come together and we're going to get a bunch of berries. So, you know, we'll see July 2025 where we're at. So for the next part of my tour, I'm going to try and go selfie mode. We'll see. Not really into the vlog thing, but whatever. Okay, so we're at the garden beds. You can see the twine here is my attempt at doing a square foot gardening method, which works really well as long as you like follow the rules, right? So like I didn't at first. I ended up kind of overcrowding some stuff, and this one obviously doesn't have a whole lot going on, and that's because I'm just trying to take what is growing and is producing and kind of let that do its thing since it's already going well, and give the rest of the soil a little bit of a break so that I can do some like fall planting on soil that isn't totally sapped, which is what happened when I overplanted. So as far as what we have, these are the container tomatoes, and if you want to see how I did that, you can go check out that video. It's pretty sweet. These are sweet potatoes. They're doing great. Probably going to harvest these like September, October. More container tomatoes. These are just flowers that were on sale at Lowe's, and I put them in to attract bees. And then here are peppers. Again, overplanted, so the peppers themselves are small, but they still taste the same. They do all of the same things. For some reason, the Cal Wonders have like dropped, oh, spiderweb, have dropped all of their leaves, and I don't know why. None of the other peppers really seem to be doing that, so I don't know, maybe we're okay. So over here, we have nothing. That is just spots that we're letting rest, and then my severely overplanted tomatoes, but you can see like they're still producing. They're out here, they're in the fight. And then these really sad looking cucumber plants, like they're very like ragamuffin, and then there's some okra in here that I don't think is going to do well because it's shaded by these tomatoes. But the cucumbers, as sad as the plants themselves look, we're still pulling cucumbers off of these things like every few days, so that's fantastic. You'll love to see it. Okay, and for the next part of the video, we are chilling in Vibe Central underneath the pergola with our Muscadine shade wall. Made a whole video about that too. Check it out, it's a good one. But yeah, we built this pergola because our backyard was completely exposed. The sun stays over our house all day long. And so we wanted a place that we can come and sit down and actually enjoy our yard in the summertime. And this shade wall helps in the afternoon because the sun's over there. And so it hits the grapes and keeps everything nice and cool in here. And we already have grapes on it. I'm gonna try and make some muscadine wine this winter. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, on to next. So we're on the move. That's my van back there. Let me know in the comments if you want to see the inside of it. This is our other berry area, and you can see we have some of those Wisconsin transplants, but new growth, everything's fine. These stopped producing a few weeks ago as well, and I think that's partly because of the heat. But yeah, we're just gonna let them mature and let them do their thing, and we're gonna get fruit, trust me, it's gonna happen. So now we're in our in-ground garden. We didn't start this until like May or June, but look, it's doing fantastic. Right here we have squash plants, and I am in full scale total war with squash bugs on these things. Luckily it's a butternut squash plant. They're pretty resilient, so they're producing fine. They're just unsightly. I don't like seeing the bugs. They're annoying. Those two oak trees back there are like alive with Japanese beetles, so I don't know. I ordered some traps, so we'll see how that goes. But the important thing is like, before I started gardening back here, I like to do everything to be completely prepared before I ever get started. And that's just not realistic. Like, just get started, just start planting, you know, and then, you know, you start inside and you're completely unprepared outside, but that's fine, because once you start inside, you have like 6 weeks, and then the outside's ready, and then you plant them outside. And if you're worried about pests and that you're not going to be able to control them in the way that you want and stuff like that, while you're figuring it out here, just start more plants in there, and then it's like this cycle, and you learn, and that's the important thing. But everybody's climate and environment's different, so you can take all the pointers in the world so that when you run into something, you know what to do, but you're not going to be able to predict every problem. And I wasn't able to predict squash bugs, so I tried to grow my squash vertically on these stakes, and I used 550 cord to kind of like string them up. But as you can see, that the 550 cord, so many bugs, likes to fall down. So like a plant that should be kind of like, you see it's already falling. So I think grow squash vertically. It's nice because you can get in there and see what's going on, and you can make sure water gets where it needs to, and you can do the pest control thing a little easier. But improve would be maybe not a stake, but like an actual trellis. Back here, we have corn and beans. The beans aren't really producing. I think we have like 2 out of all of these plants we have back here. We have like 2 beans, but maybe I'm just being a little bit impatient. When you're gonna co-plant like this, so we wanted to do beans and corn so that the beans had some support, but I think these are actually bush beans, so like it wouldn't really matter either way. I'm totally not sure. If you're gonna do that though, you can't plant both things at the same time. We planted our corn and our beans at the same time instead of letting the corn get established and then putting the beans in. So that's probably the one thing I would say we'll do differently next year, is if we're going to co-plant, we're going to do it in the right order instead of just rushing to get everything in the ground. So on this side, that's our smoker. Sunday smokies, get into it. Smoked meats is awesome. Let me know in the comments if you want us to make some videos on how we smoke meat. Cucumbers, a couple more squash plants, but these are cucumbers and these are cucumbers. These cucumbers look astronomically better than the ones in the garden beds, and these have been growing vertically from the start. We have pulled like 2 or 3 cucumbers off of this, and there's already more growing, so yeah, we should be good. Okay, you guys, and this sprawling gorgeous thing over here is our watermelon plants, and we have a lot of things going wrong in our backyard homestead garden, but this is not one of those things. This is going well. Right now I'm counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's just what I can see right now. Watermelons growing on this thing. So with 2 vine plants, the squash and the watermelons right next to each other, oh, and the cucumbers, so really 3 vine plants right next to each other. How we're deconflicting is by like vertical space, so that's why we're growing the squash plants up and kind of keeping them that way toward the corn, and then we trained the watermelon vines to grow this way so that they don't get all tangled up with the squash. As you can see, I can still walk around in here and do everything that I need to do weeding wise and battling squash bugs. Not really having any pest problems with the watermelons, just having a bunch of bumblebees doing their things, pollinating and like doing all the things that are good. Next part of the tour is the chicken coop and chicken run, which is still in progress. I haven't really cleaned up the build site over here because I just want you guys to see exactly what our backyard homestead looks like on a normal day. You can see there's materials out because we're building, and because I have, you know, a 3-month-old baby, I wait till he goes down for a nap. I come out, I build a little bit, I go in and check on him. So I'm doing stuff in like 45-minute spurts, not really like, oh, I'm going to take a whole day to build the chicken coop. But yeah, so we got the framing done, got some hardware mesh up on the spots that I know are going to be exposed, and we really just have to put in roosting bars and finish closing this thing up. So it should be done really, really soon. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more of the build. The run will actually come straight up against this thing, and we'll have like a door so that it opens up and it lets them straight into their run. I just haven't moved out of the way right now because of the whole building thing. Yeah, that's that. Y'all, we're back in selfie mode and we're getting really sweaty, but we're almost done. So this right here is an apple tree. It's a very young apple tree. We have 2 of them. we put this little thing around the base of it. We put that little plastic piece around the base to protect it from things that would try and, I don't know, eat it. You have to ask my husband about that. He's the apple tree expert. Those Japanese beetles have really been doing a number on our leaves, but that's okay. You know, like there's worse things, and these trees are so young that we're not expecting them to produce for a few more years. So as long as they still have like new growth and they're thriving, these individual leaves getting eaten up by beetles this year, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. We'll see. We actually have two of these apple trees. This is the other one. Swinging around. This is the hardtop from our 1985 Chevy K5 Blazer. It's actually an old Cuck V. It's a diesel old military Blazer. That thing's pretty sweet, but we took this hardtop off and threw a soft topper on it, and now this is kind of like a little doghouse. It lets Murph get some shade, and the piece de resistance is this bad Larry right here. It is a 1974 Ford F100. That's right, F100. She's super fun. She runs like a champ. We actually drove this home on the highway to get it when we bought it. But yeah, we'll just do the full walk around. She's real pretty and really fun to drive. My husband loves it. Okay guys, so that is our July 2024 backyard homestead tour. We have only been in the game for 6 months, but I want to document the progress along the way instead of waiting until everything's perfect to show everybody. But yeah, we're having a super good time, and we'll maybe try and do one of these every month, and I'll just like update what is going on that's like actually interesting. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want next week's video to be about. And that doesn't mean I'm gonna necessarily make one. Still haven't decided.